Hey guys, Rob from the Off-Grid Tiny House. Another LEVO C video processing some trim. This is video 3 of 3. And so right here we have the container of uh, infused organic coconut oil and trim that we already ran through the machine once. Now we're going to add it to the LEVO C machine again, but this is being introduced to a new batch of trim that's been just decarbed. Decarbed. It's decarboxylation. It's a big term. Just call it decarb for short. Sounds better, easier. Anyways, so now we're going to throw this in. We are going to start the infusion process. And again, I have a big chunk of organic coconut oil in there. So the agitator disc isn't quite centered in the bottom, but I said to hell with it and I'm going to try it anyways. And actually, because it's all to do with magnets, it actually reached, it got back to its spot where it's supposed to be anyways. So no big worries there. So we're infusing this again, and I think I did a shorter period of time. I did like 9 hours or something around there, 10, who knows. Yeah, I shortened the time up a little bit here. And then again at I think 170 or 175 Fahrenheit. And start. Here we go. So you can see it there momentarily spun. So as the big chunk will dissolve, then the little agitator will get via magnetics back into the center where it should be and continue to stir. So you can see it struggling, pushing up against that chunk until it dissolves. Here we go now, a little bit later in the process. Oh, this is actually a lot later because the machine's off. The infusion completed, and now we are ready to pour this stuff out and get the goodness. Now in this batch here, I did it kind of sloppy. I have there's a few particles of plant material in this stuff. Not a big deal. You can either pick them out or whatever later. I could have strained everything once again and threw some cloth, but I was, it was in the morning and I was in a hurry, had to get to work, so it is what it is. But you can always strain it later. Not a big deal. A little bit of plant material won't kill you for sure. So here's the rest of that process, guys. You can see the trim in there. It was packed full to the brim, and this time I'm kind of being a little bit more careful than the first time where, we had a bunch of crap slip in because the top popped off. But we're just slowly draining it off. And I like to try to push down on some of the material in the container to get any more liquid out of it. But this comes out pretty dry, actually. It dried out really well, and most of the liquid remained in the container there, so didn't have to really worry about it whatsoever. So in this case, I used the lid to kind of push down the material into the screen there, and nothing much came out of it. It was pretty dry, so all the medicine's in the liquid, and now we're going to pour it back out into the original coconut oil glass mason jar that it came in, and so it'll fit perfectly. Now you just want to be careful with this, guys. Let it sit down and cool for a bit before pouring any hot substance into a glass jar, because if it's too hot and the glass isn't tempered enough, it'll shatter the glass and you'll have one hell of a mess. Broken glass and liquid everywhere. So just let it cool for a little bit. It'll stay liquid for a long time. It takes about 24 hours for it to turn into a solid if it's just at room temperature. So, um, but you can always throw it in the fridge if you want to speed that up. But in this case, we don't want to do that until it's in the container we want it to be in. And then once it's all in there, I'm kind of picking at some of the little specks of plant material that got knocked in there on accident. Again, not a big deal. And then I put the lid on this thing, give it a nice shake, put it aside just for 24 hours, and it'll solidify and good to go. Stuff lasts for like I think 5 years, um, in room temperature in a unsealed or in a sealed container. And if you throw it in the freezer, it's like 10 years, something like that. But you'll use it up before then. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one.